Hi, this is Ivy. Welcome to my video. In this video, I will talk about my role as a mentor. Even if you know a lot about mentoring, you may find something interesting here. So, as mentors, we are experienced English teachers to provide developmental feedback to our inexperienced English teachers or mentees. Take me as an example. I was assigned with 4 mentees, and we are all Chinese. This was not a problem for me until we did our first mentoring. I was struggle whether to talk to them in English or in Chinese. To understand the situation better, we have 2 hours of mentoring. So 40 minutes to watch the first pair teaching, another 40 minutes for the second pair, and 10 minutes for the transition time. So only 30 minutes left for actual mentoring, which I actually did in English. But I extend over extra 30 minutes to do mentoring in Chinese. So why did this happen? Does L1 and L2 have something to do with mentoring? Literature review shows the language was rarely an issue addressed to influence post-observation conference or mentoring. But we, in our mentoring program, out of 14 mentoring groups, 4 are all Chinese. So this should not be ignored. But how to address? I didn't have any idea until I came across this saying: distinctive motivations drive language choices. So, motivations and choices could help me to analyze my belief and my actual use of L1 and L2. But we are talking about developmental feedback, which means we need to provide helpful and useful and future-oriented feedbacks to our mentees to help them grow better, to teach better. So my research questions are as following. First, what are my beliefs of L1 and L2 in mentoring? Second, my actual use of L1 and L2. Third, my mentees' perceptions of L1 and L2 in mentoring. About my belief, I was interviewed by one of my colleagues of L1 and L2 using in mentoring process. And then I transcribed the data. About my mentees' view, I designed a survey for them to answer. Then I collect all the data and analyze them in detail. Here comes the result. About my belief, I attach a lot of importance to efficiency of communication, so I turn to L1 quite often. And I also pay attention to the context where I use L1 or L2. My actual use of L1 and L2 during first mentoring, I was struggling whether to talk to them in English or Chinese. But during our second mentoring, I gave autonomy to my mentees, so we are free to use L1 and L2. About my mentees' view, they were asked to respond spontaneously about their feelings of the autonomy of L1 and L2 using, and their preferences of L1 and L2, and whether language has something to do with ideal mentor for them. The result shows that my beliefs actually decided my actual use. And 3 of the mentees said that they felt more relaxed when turning to L1, and all of them agreed that language could influence accuracy and efficiency of mentoring process. So the implications of this research could be concluded as following. First, language does have something to do with mentoring. Second, sharing L1 could help one to become an ideal mentor for the special mentee. Now I would like to conclude my presentation by saying from George Bernard Shaw, England and America are 2 countries separated by the same language. Likewise, we should never ignore language in mentoring process. This is Ivy. Hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for your attention, and I'm waiting for your feedback.